Hello, this is Paul Malone, and I am here today to do a demo video on how to decorate ideal forms with basically the JIRA wrappers and JIRA tools so your forms can be embedded inside of JIRA itself. So, there are several ways of doing it. I will caveat this with, this isn't the use case that we're primarily using ideal forms for now. We're effectively building parallel user interfaces for business processes. And as such, we don't even want the JIRA headers or the JIRA controls. But it's actually baked into the tool in a few different ways, and I'll go through those with you today. So the first and easiest way to do it is to pick a form group, any form group at all. And then I'll pick this one. I'm going to edit this form group. And one of the settings down here is called JIRA decorated. And I had already set this to true. The default is false, which means that the form is just going to open in a blank form or a blank browser. So if I have this set to true, which it is, and then I pick a form from that form group and open it, what we will see is that the form opens inside of a JIRA container. And the container gives me all of my normal JIRA things at the top. It is wired, so the GG works if you use that for your administration. The form itself is wired, so it's actually doing what it's supposed to do. You'll note that well, you may or may not note, that the wrapper is the general wrapper. JIRA has several of these wrappers that you can use for the forms. I implemented two of them. One is this one, it's the general wrapper. The second one is the admin. So if I put in admin here, instead of decorator in my URL, what we'll see is the same form appearing inside of the administration panel of JIRA. So you'll see applications, projects, add-ons, and in the add-ons we'll see my actual form here. So those are the two out-of-the-box ways of integrating with JIRA. There's a few other tricks you can use to access the forms themselves inside of JIRA. The first and easiest one is to make a change in JIRA to set this menu bar on the upper left-hand side. This is just basically a menu bar that links to whatever you choose to put into it. The way you configure this in JIRA is in the administration section, applications. And in there is a menu option down here at the bottom called Application Navigator. And the Application Navigator allows you to create links that will appear in that drop-down menu. So if I create a new one, test link, and if I go back to my form, I'll go ahead and grab this one. And I put in a URL, and I click Add, that test link will now show up in my menu bar. So I'll hit refresh, hit my menu bar, and there is my test link. If I click the test link, it'll actually take me to the URL that I've put in, which happens to be the Ideal Forms administration. So those are the easiest ways to create forms and kind of nest them in or embed them inside of JIRA. Now, I've been playing around with some more complex ways, which may provide more value in some use cases. And basically from a question that I got from someone on the internet. And that is, how can you basically create a form that works inside of the JIRA navigation structure. So for example, if I was to click this issue, and then the issue comes up inside of JIRA. Well, it turns out there is a way to do it, and I know it can be done cleanly, and I've got it most of the way there now. I just haven't dotted all the I's and crossed the T's. And the way to do it is using JavaScript inside of either the banner or inside of the field description of any field, because those pieces of JavaScript will execute inside of the rendering of this form. So, for example, if I select TP03 right now, it'll come up on the screen, and then it's going to re-render the screen into an ideal form, the same one we were looking at a second ago. And it's going to work just like other forms work. The other benefit of this is I can come to the dashboard, and from the dashboard select an issue in that project, and it'll do the same thing. So there are some drawbacks with it. The drawbacks so far that I've seen is that it's not working inside the projects navigator. So if I navigate to projects and I go to that issue, it's not rendering, and it has something to do with the event that I'm using. And the second is in the issues search, it works sometimes, but it doesn't work every time. So again, that's another issue. So I've just navigated to it from the search. It didn't do the rendering. If I hit refresh, it will do the rendering. So obviously that's going to take a little bit of work, but it's not a big deal. On the video page, I will put the JavaScript I used to render this form into the screen, and you can play with it, or at least see how I did a partial implementation of this. The last way of integrating with JIRA, I think, not the last way, but a different way, would be to affect the change to the form itself using a tool like ScriptRunner or any other plugin tool. But ScriptRunner, out of the box, lets you add buttons to the form and then have them do anything, really. But, for example, you could put a button right here or anywhere on the screen that says, click to view different perspective. And if you clicked that, then it would render, what I would argue is you would want it to render something like, an open form like this one, where you kind of maintain the same perspective of JIRA, but then the form is embedded inside there. I think that's probably the cleanest way of doing it. Anyway, if you have any questions, please comment on this video or shoot us an email. Thank you very much.